I think it's about that housing project.
That's exactly what it was. Yeah. She wanted to know if the new development was gonna change the trajectory.
Chair Soon, we do indeed have a quorum.
Okay, good morning, everybody. I'm gonna call the last meeting of the year to order. I know. But that just means we're gonna make it the best meeting of the year. All of you, please rise to join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Hand over heart, ready, pledge. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, thank you very much. That was a very great pledge.
It was.
Thank you, Lynette. All right. When Lynette gets back to her chair, could you please take the roll? Thank you.
Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning.
Director Andreata,
Present.
Baines,
Present.
Boomgarden, absent Bradford,
Here.
Branscombe,
Yes.
Houlihan,
Here.
Capdeline,
Here.
Chapman,
Here.
Clark Kretz,
Here.
Clarici,
Yo.
Desmond,
Here.
Dowden Calvillo,
Present.
Early,
Here.
Howdeshelt,
Here.
Hume,
Here.
Jennings,
I am here, Madam Clerk.
Hugh, Jones, here,
Better.
Kennedy,
Here.
Kozlowski, St. Lauren,
Here.
Maple, McCully absent Rodriguez,
Here.
Sander,
Here.
Schaefer,
Here.
Peter, here, Veerkamp, Vega,
Here.
Villegas, Chair Gallardo,
Here.
Chair Soon,
Here.
and ex officio member Tacker for Esteves.
Here.
Thank you. We have a quorum.
All right, thank you. You said Director Vega's on line, correct?
Yes, she's joining us remotely today. She is here.
Great, thank you. All right, moving on to public communications. I have one speaker card in front of me. This is for any items not on the agenda. For folks like to speak, if you do, please make it known to our clerk now. Otherwise, I will start with David Schwagel. Good morning, David.
Good morning, SACOG Board. My name is David Schwegel with Vang Incorporated Consulting Engineers. Our president and CEO, Ken Vang, was the project manager on Merced to Sacramento high-speed rail back when we were with Precision Civil Engineering. And I'd like to talk a bit about the Merced to Sacramento section of the high-speed rail project. First off, with the emphasis being on building from Gilroy to Palmdale, there is a lot of talk about dropping Merced from the initial operating section. There is a lot of opposition to doing so. We should be opposed as well, because to quote former board chairman Dan Richard, the ridership revenue on the Merced to Sacramento section is absolutely essential for building over the Tehachapi and San Gabriel Mountains into the Los Angeles Basin. So we would want to advocate for running a single track between Merced and Madera, so that we can capitalize on that ridership revenue. Now, one of the things I remember when I was working on the regional consulting team was putting together reports of the board of directors meetings, including one in Los Angeles that had 142 public comments, almost all opposed to the project. I was so stressed out preparing that report that I fainted at work due to stress overload, heart stopped beating for 42 seconds, ended up in the hospital. And when I got out, my team said, okay, what is the biggest takeaway from that meeting in Los Angeles? I said, get Elk Grove a station, get Elk Grove on board, and don't let Elk Grove become another Santa Clarita. Now, I've had every good intention for getting down to Elk Grove to a city council meeting, but it's a long way from Loomis, but I will still try to get down there. I would really like to see Elk Grove get a high-speed rail station, which would be near where Laguna Road crosses over the railroad tracks, near I-5, near the Apple campus. Who knows, maybe we can get a spaceship that rivals the Cupertino one of Apple. One of Elk Grove's significant pain points is only half a job per dwelling unit, as indicated by Mike McKeever, James Corliss' predecessor, at the Citizens Planning Academy. And at that planning academy, it was indicated that There would be tremendous transit-oriented development opportunity if we're able to get a high-speed rail station in Elk Grove. Now, the distance between Elk Grove to Sacramento is comparable to the distance between San Francisco International Airport and the Salesforce Transit Center in downtown San Francisco. So the engineering makes perfect sense. The challenge is that high-speed rail only allows 24 stations, so we need to drop the stations in Fullerton and Santa Fe Springs in order to get the stations in Manteca and Elk Grove. So let's keep Elk Grove front and center in our radar. Elk Grove, keep growing,
30
grow quickly,
seconds.
surpass Modesto in population. The quicker you pass Modesto, the sooner I can justify getting you a high-speed rail station. And make sure that you give ACE, the Ultimate Corridor Express, a warm welcome as they provide service to Elk Grove, hopefully in calendar year 2026, as they extend the rest of the way up to Midtown Sacramento and ultimately Sacramento International Airport. Thank you.
Thank you, David. Thanks for cheering for Elk Grove. We'll settle for Selma-Key Valley Rail and Altamont Corridor Express for now, but we'll see. Any other speakers?
There's no other public communications.
Okay, thank you very much. Moving on to our consent calendar. Does anyone, any directors have any conflicts with our consent calendar? Seeing none. Are there any questions on the consent calendar? Yes.
Quick question. I'd like to have one question on item number 2.
Item number 2, okay.
Just a question of staff, if they could look into something. It states under background, under the second paragraph under background, and these are state transit assistance funds that go to the transit operators. It says transit operators are encouraged to prioritize these funds for one-time capital investments rather than operating purposes. And since these are grants and therefore separately tracked in their financial statements, there should be information available. I wonder if the transit people could look into that and see what the track record is on how these funds are expended. And I'm wondering who's doing the encouraging, because it says they're encouraged to do this. Are they encouraged by SACOG? Are they encouraged by the law?
We can certainly report back on, can you get the mic
If
down
we
a
could
little
get a
bit?
report back on that, that'd be very informative.
Yes, we're happy to do that.
Thank you. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Director Branscombe. Are there any public comments on for the consent calendar?
There's no public comment.
Okay, bring it back to the board. All right, move from,
I'll second.
okay, move Director Veerkamp and.
I did.
Oh, I'm sorry, Director, Donna Calvillo seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstain, motion carries. All right.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. Thank you. Thank you, Director Early. Yeah, roll call vote, please.
Thank you. If you could please indicate your vote when I call your name. Director Andreatta,
Yes.
Baines,
Aye.
Boomgarden absent, Bradford,
Aye.
Branscombe,
Aye.
Houlihan,
Aye.
Chapdelaine,
Yes.
Chapman, Cartcretz,
Yes.
Clarici,
Aye.
Desmond,
Aye.
Dowden Calvillo,
Aye.
Early,
Aye.
Howdeshelt,
Aye.
Hume,
Aye.
Jennings,
Yes.
Jones,
Aye.
Kennedy,
Aye.
Kozlowski, absent Lauren,
Aye.
Maple, McCully absent Rodriguez,
Aye.
Sander,
Aye.
Schaefer,
Aye.
Teeter,
Aye.
Veerkamp,
Aye.
Vega,
Aye.
Villegas,
Aye.
Vice Chair Gallardo,
Aye.
and Chair Soon.
Aye.
Thank you. Motion carries.
All right, thank you. Okay, we'll move on to our action items for the moment you've been waiting for, the election of the 2026 SACOG Chair and Vice Chair. I want to introduce Director Dowden Calvillo, Chair of our Nominating Committee, to kick this item off, and want to thank you, Chair Dowden Calvillo, for your work on this.
Oh, well, thank you. It was a pleasure. I appreciate the opportunity to serve as the chair of this year's nominating committee for the 2026 officers, chair and vice chair. I'd like to first thank the members of the committee, Holly Andreatta, Mark Boomgarden, Josh Chapman, Jesse Lauren, David Sanders, Tim Schaefer, Angela Teeter, and myself. Of course, I have to give myself a thank you. This was reading down the line.
Yeah.
But, you know, we did have several individuals that applied for vice chair, and we deliberated over those. And I just want to say how much I appreciate working with such a strong group, people who step up to the plate and want to serve in a leadership capacity. I know that being chair has been incredibly busy. I know it's going to be very busy for Jill, but we're here to support you. But, kudos to those that step up and want to do that. With that said, we were unanimous in our recommendation for, of course, Chair Jill, we're nominating Jill, and Vice Chair Gary. So wanted to make that, and also to thank those again who applied. With that, do I need to actually ask for the motion, or would the chair do that?
I'll ask you a question.
Okay, there you go.
But,
So,
yeah, quick round of applause for both of them. Okay, are there any comments or
Oh,
questions?
no, I was just gonna move approval, but.
Oh, okay. Moved forward, Director Andriana, and seconded by Director Director Desmond. All right, roll call vote, please.
Thank you. Director Andreata,
Yes.
Baines,
Aye.
Baumgarten, absent Bradford,
Aye.
Branscombe,
Yes.
Houlihan,
Aye.
Chapdelaine,
Yes.
Chapman,
Aye.
Clark Kretz,
Yes.
Clarici,
Yes.
Desmond.
Aye.
Dowden Calvillo.
aye.
Early,
Aye.
Haudashelt,
Thank you, Chair Soon, for your leadership this year. Aye.
Hume,
Aye.
Jennings,
Yes.
Jones,
Aye.
Kennedy,
Aye.
Kozlowski, absent Lauren,
Aye.
Maple,
Mhm.
McCully, absent Rodriguez,
Aye.
Sander,
Aye.
Schaefer,
Aye.
Teeter,
Aye.
Veerkamp, Vega,
Aye.
Villegas,
Aye.
Vice Chair Galdo,
Aye.
and Chair Soon.
Aye.
Thank you. Motion carries.
All right, yeah. Yeah, I want to thank the entire nominating committee for their work on this as well. And with that, I would like to offer Chair-elect Galdo, if you'd like to say a few words.
Right, thank you, very few words. Thank you, obviously, thank you. It's very, just when I first joined the SACOG board, I have just been so impressed with the great personalities. And there's a lot of big personalities in this room, and I think that's the strength of our community and our area, and I really, really appreciate this. The trust you put into me. I can't help but reflect on the first time when I was elected in city council and mayor, and my late father-in-law served on the Rockland Council for 20 years as mayor. And so my husband's words of advice to me were, just don't screw this up. Thank you. I think that's my goal to run from, but I have been so fortunate to be able to watch multiple chairs. I think you look at Director Jennings and multiple fabulous chairs, and I know we'll have January, we'll talk. City next year's been the best. So thank you so much. And I'm ridiculously excited to have my vice chair, Gary Bradford. I think we're going to be a fantastic team. The one thing that I just because I know our lives get so busy, so I'm really looking forward to our site visits to do a little bit more. I know we're going to think El Dorado and I forget where else we're, but I do want to announce that due to popular demand and the fact that I don't think anybody's ever been there, our tour this year is going to be the Twin Cities. So Minneapolis, St. Paul. I don't know if anybody's ever been to Minneapolis, St. Paul, but we're going to land there and learn what they have to offer. So June 24th to 26th, just to make sure you could put that on your calendar. Thank you.
Will there be ice fishing involved?
Not in June.
Not in June.
No, they're just giant flies.
Well, we look forward to 2026. Thank you, Chair-elect Galdo. All right, we're moving on to item 5, the 2026 Regional
Through the chair.
Project Prioritization Program. What?
I don't want to celebrate you. Look how you just,
Yes.
Okay, that's the way he is. That's the way he is. Let's move along. Totally selfless.
Keep the
meeting going. Totally selfless, just blew right.
No, I mean, I just would love to say thank you for your leadership as chair. I'm a huge fan of yours, and as you have always been to me, I think you have been open and so welcoming, and so I just want to make sure that we call you out and say a huge thank you.
Thank you so much. Appreciate that, Director Early.
Can I second that emotion?
Thank you,
Wow,
Director Jennings.
I think we always second that emotion, don't you?
Well,
Sing it.
yeah, I mean, to the entire board, I just, it is it's been an honor. It's been an honor and a pleasure to serve as your chair this past year. We got a lot of stuff done, as you'll hear later on. And I've being 7 years on this board, seeing how we've evolved. There's been robust conversations in the past, but I really feel like we are in I would say a mature level of leadership, in the sense that we do have these tough conversations, but we all get along at the end of the day, which I think we're striving for this across the nation. And so I think we're a great model for the entire nation in that regard, for all the different jurisdictions we're representing, rural, urban, suburban, and political dynamics as well. So thank you. I really appreciate the opportunity to have this role. Okay, we'll move on to the next item. 2026 regional project. 2026 regional project prioritization program staff recommendations. Mr. Dustin Foster, good morning.
Good morning. Thank you, Chair Soon. Thank you for a great year of leadership.
Thank you.
Good morning, directors. My name is Dustin Foster. I'm here on the SACOG transportation team, where my work focuses on planning for our region's external grants and funding strategy. I am proud to present this morning on staff recommendation for the 2026 SACOG Regional Project Prioritization Program. The staff recommendation this morning is to approve the recommended list of projects for the program in the actively pursuing federal funding program grants and projects in development categories with associated conditions of approval. So the program's goal is for the region to advocate with a unified voice to state and federal partners and to increase success in external grant awards. This is a SACOG effort to strategically identify a top priority project for key state and federal grant programs. And this is the third cycle since early 2024 to identify projects that advance our long-range plan, the blueprint. We also use this in our advocacy, such as the Cap to Cap brochure that's included in your packet this morning. And we've had success with the program already, with the Grant Lines Road Safety Project receiving a RAISE grant award last year, and also our partners in Placer County receiving a Build Grant Award for the 8065 South Interchange Project, which was also prioritized in the project, the list last October. So to provide a brief overview of what this program is and isn't, this is SACOG's effort to coordinate with regional partners, identify key regional transportation projects, and provide advocacy and technical support to those projects so that they can then be successful in grant awards. But this is not a promise of funding from the SACOG funding round. It's not SACOG offering to lead the effort, and does not provide an advantage or preclude you from applying to the SACOG funding round or your targeted program if you're not on the recommended list. So you may be wondering how this program is implementing the blueprint that you approved just last month. We are advancing regional transportation projects that are on the list in that plan, but this is focused on the federal competitive and state competitive grant awards rather than the federal and state formulaic grants that SACOG controls. And these programs are highly competitive. And so in order to realize these financial assumptions, we need to be strategic in order to be competitive and actually secure that 8% specifically for the federal competitive of our assumed revenues. And a reminder, for this cycle, the recommended list before you includes prioritized projects for several federal grant programs. We delayed the SB1, the state call for projects, until spring 2026, which gives us time to develop the in-progress US 50 and the recently completed State Route 99 comprehensive multimodal corridor plans, which open up eligibility for the SB1 Solutions for Congested Corridors program. So a bit on our process this cycle. The process kicked off with local agency consultations in mid-September through near late October. We held 24 meetings with 21 prospective applicants and discussed 54 projects. By the submittal day of October 24th, we received 34 applications from 18 applicants. And in total, these projects are over $3 billion in total project costs. That's just under 100 million per project, so showing the regional nature of these projects. We then looked at all those applications and screened them to make sure they met the program eligibility. And we then moved into SACOG internal evaluation, where staff from cross-team collaboration with staff from several other teams, including transportation, government and public affairs, and data analysis, reviewed these projects and scored them on a 1 to 10 scale on the 3 scoring criteria: regional benefit, competitiveness for the targeted funding program, and readiness to deliver the project. And the total top score for those would have been out of 30. Okay, so over the next few slides, I'll be presenting 3 different lists in your recommended in the staff report this morning. This first list is of recommended projects that are prioritized for actively pursuing federal grants. These were carried forward from last year's cycle because they did not have a chance to apply to that program, are still waiting to hear back from the program if they submitted the grant, and are still working through key grant agreements. So that's why they're remaining on the list. The second list is newly recommended projects for the following programs. There on the left. Some of these programs like Build, Infra, and SS4A were highly competitive, while several other programs such as CRISI or RCE only had single applicants to that program. Generally, the decisions on which project was chosen came down to readiness, program fit, really looking at that upcoming grant deadline, making sure they could deliver the project in the time frame necessary. And a little bit on the secondary priority you see there for SS4A, the Envision Broadway and Oak Park project. Sacramento County submitted a grant to the program in June. They're still waiting to hear back on whether the project was funded. So if the project was funded, we would then be able to provide a letter of support to the City of Sacramento project listed there. So that's how secondary priorities work, and they'll work as we continue this program into the future. So now we move into a newer category we've created this cycle, which is projects in development. This is a newer category for projects. They're not prioritized for a specific program and may not be ready to apply for a grant in the next year. These projects were identified to receive strategic support from SACOG staff to help incubate the project, move it forward to the next phase, and develop a funding strategies for that project. So on this slide are 2 key regional pipelines that we're creating to move projects through the delivery phases, starting with managed lanes, the 2 projects listed there, and the Sacramento Valley Station Rail Yards Access Pipeline, where we received a lot of applications in this specific area, obviously a very regionally significant area. So this pipeline gives us an opportunity to coordinate with partners, phase these projects, and potentially bundle them with other projects in the area for future grant applications. All right, in addition to those pipelines, we have a few more listed here, starting with the Stockton BRT project submitted by the City of Sacramento. This is a key bus route already and a key project we've supported, and it will remain on the list. We have 2 active transportation projects, the Truckee River Trail and the Winters I-505 overcrossing safety project. We have a rural program, the Harvest Corridors Improvement Partnership between SDA and EDCTC. And we have 2 interchange/overcrossing projects in Yuba County and the City of Folsom. So on to our next steps. We will be debriefing all projects with applicants in January and February, and we'll be scoping support with the recommended list of projects. We'll be developing a new brochure to bring to CAP in April next year and provide talking points to help you discuss projects with your federal partners. Throughout the year, we'll continue collaborating with partners, monitoring programs, communicating with applicants on upcoming notices of funding opportunities, and providing letters of support to the recommended projects. And then for projects not recommended, we can provide letters of consistency with the blueprint if you still intend to apply to the program. So, and a reminder, this program will be run annually. We'll run our spring SB1 call for projects, so stay tuned on that, and we plan to rerun the federal programs as well. This ends my presentation. Thank you for your attention, and happy to answer any questions. Back to you, Chair Soon.
Thank you, Dustin. Any questions for Dustin, Mr. Foster? Oh, yes, Director Desmond.
Thank you, Dustin, for the presentation. Just so I'm clear, so we will revisit these annually, these list of projects for purposes of prioritization? Okay.
Correct.
There's one thing I talked to James briefly before the meeting about the Hazel Avenue Interchange project, which is a significant project for us in Sacramento County, which I think checks a lot of boxes, but I know there's some strategy associated with this in terms of the federal funding and how successful we've been in the past and how do we get ourselves better positioned to be more successful in the future. And I look forward to having those discussions with SACOG staff and with our Sacramento County staff. But it's still a project that I think STA, we have gone out together and actually advocated for that project specifically, and we'll probably continue to do so. And certainly we'll advocate to try to make whatever changes we need to make to get it as a priority next year. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions from directors? Yes. Go ahead.
Yes, I would just like to say that our interchange is definitely important to my town. It's a really dangerous situation, and really want to work together to get us in a better scoring position on that. And just wanted everybody to know on the board how important it is for my town. It's an incredibly bad safety issue, so we're going to be working hard to get that funded. Thank you.
You. Any further questions from directors? Okay, seeing none, I'll go to the public. If there's any questions or comments from the public, Lynette?
There's no public comment.
Okay, with that, I entertain a motion.
I'll move approval of staff's recommendations.
Okay.
Lauren seconds.
Director Dowden Calvillo motion and Director Lauren seconded. Roll call vote, please.
Thank you. Good morning, Director Andreatta.
Yes.
Baines.
Aye.
Boomgarden absent. Bradford.
Aye.
Branscombe.
Aye.
Houlihan.
Aye.
Chapdelaine.
Yes.
Chapman.
Aye.
Clark Kretz. Clarici.
Aye.
Desmond.
Aye.
Dowden Calvillo.
Aye.
Early.
Aye.
Howard.
Aye.
Hume. Jennings.
Yes.
Jones.
Aye.
Kennedy.
Aye.
Kozlowski absent. Lauren.
Aye.
Maple. McCully absent. Rodriguez.
Aye.
Sander.
Aye.
Schaefer.
Aye.
Peter.
Aye.
Veerkamp. Vega.
Aye.
Villegas.
Aye.
Vice Chair Gallardo.
Aye.
And Chair Soon.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you very much. Next, we're going to move on to that'll end our action items, and we'll move on to our informational items. Mobility Zones Project Prioritization Framework, Justine Riccio Patel. Did I say that right?
Yes.
Oh, thank you.
Good morning, directors. Thank you, Chair. I'm Justine Riccio Patel, and I'm an associate from the SACOG Transportation team. I'm joined today by Sarah Steinberger from our technical analysis team from STEER. We're here to present an information item on the project prioritization framework for the Mobility Zones program. The framework that we're presenting today describes how our team has been working closely with our community partners and jurisdictional staff to develop transportation projects, screen them for project feasibility, and evaluate how they perform, with the goal of selecting 6 early action projects for advancement in 2026. We'll walk you through where we are in the process and what comes next. So to give you an overview of today's agenda, I'll start with a quick project recap. 2025 was a very big year for us, so I'll be giving some of the highlights of what we presented to the Transportation Committee and the board. And then Sarah will give an overview of the selection process and walk through the criteria that we are using to evaluate the project concepts. And then I'll close out with some next steps, including our upcoming appearances at the board in 2026. All right. So if you recall, back in May 2025, the board adopted the final list of 10 Phase 1 mobility zones. These are the places in our region where we see the strongest overlap of need and transportation challenges, and where our committees have asked us to focus both our analysis and our outreach. Soon after the 10 zones were adopted, our project team launched a needs assessment to get a clearer picture of specific transportation challenges within each zone. We developed our analysis across 5 categories: bicycle infrastructure, pedestrian infrastructure, safety, transit, and access to destinations. And we brought those findings to you in early September. So to move from these findings and toward identifying our 6 early action projects, we've been working through a multi-phase process. The current phase has brought together technical analysis and a lot of different types of engagement. Our outreach has focused on co-creating with the community, coordinating with our jurisdictional partners, consulting with our project committees, and using that input to shape the project. Our goal is to make sure that the 6 projects that come out of this process are truly reflective of the community priorities and is realistically deliverable in the near term. I'll turn things over to Sarah right now to go through our methodology.
Thanks, Justine. Good morning, everyone. I'm Sarah Steinberger. I'm the project manager for STEER. We're the technical consulting firm on the mobility zone projects, and it's a pleasure to be presenting to you today. So I'm just gonna, as Justine mentioned, give a high-level overview of our prioritization process, which is gonna take us from over 100 community-generated project ideas down to 6 early action projects to receive mobility zones funding. So Justine mentioned a lot of this, but just gonna give another high-level overview. So just to ground us quickly, so really the purpose of this exercise is to continually filter down the project list to advance projects that most respond to community needs and priorities, as well as the goals that we defined in the beginning of the project and those that are ready for implementation. So over the summer, we presented existing conditions and needs assessments to community members and engaged in a series of workshops where there were over 100 projects ideas generated. We then met with cities, counties, and transit agencies to refine the project list and conducted some early technical work to go from a long list of 57 projects to a short list of 33 high priority projects, which is about 3 to 5 projects per zone. We then evaluated those projects against a set of criteria that I'll review on the next slide and gathered community feedback to gauge the level of support. So this is currently where we are in the project. And all of this is going to be used to support community committees, where there's 1 per county, in nominating 1 project per zone and county as an early action candidate. And then those projects will go to the task force, which is made up of 1 representative from each community committee in February, where they will advance the candidate 6 early action projects for mobility zones funding. Okay, so this slide just gives a high-level overview of how we evaluated the 33 high priority projects. There's a much more detailed methodology in the agenda packet, but overall, our approach can be described as a qualitative process that is informed by quantitative data and engagement. So the first category, access and quality of life. So this is tied to mobility zone program goals around safety, access to destinations, multimodal connectivity, and public and environmental health. So here we look at how effective each project is at addressing each criteria. So for example, how well does a transit shelter versus a sidewalk project versus a bike lane address safety? And then how well does the project address each of the criteria in its specific location and context? The second category is about advancing equity and being responsive to community identified needs and preferences. So is the project located in an equity priority community? How well does it address comments received during engagement? And what is the level of support among community members? And then lastly, is it in an area that historically hasn't seen as much investment as other parts of the region? So the third category is delivery. So this is about factors such as cost. So ultimately looking to advance projects that are in kind of the lower end of the cost range, so under $1 million. Also time frame. So what are the more near-term projects? And then fundability. So this is about are there other potential funding sources, or could the project likely only get funded through mobility zones? Also looking at the level of jurisdictional support among project sponsors, and then lastly, project phase. So is it something that's more of a visioning study, or is it a project that's more shovel ready? So we developed rubrics to score each of these criteria and categories, and then that plus the underlying data is what the community committees will see to help them nominate candidate early action projects in January. Okay, so this shows a conceptual example of how the evaluation will work and be presented. So moving from left to right, we have the project, the zone, the type of project, and then you can see low to high ratings for each of the individual criteria. So those are shown in the lighter colors. And then the aggregated summary scores are shown by the circles. So again, this is qualitative assessment informed by quantitative data and engagement with community members and partners to give us a general sense of how the projects compare against one another and to help us assess trade-offs, and then ultimately to get down from 33 projects to 6, which is what we're going to be focusing on over the next few months. So I will pass it back to Justine now to go over next steps.
Thank you, Sarah. Just gonna flip over. So just to reiterate, this slide shows us where we are in the prioritization process. From June to November, we completed a significant amount of technical analysis and community engagement. Our team has done a lot of work over the last few months to understand these zones, to develop and refine potential solutions, and coordinate with jurisdictions and agencies to ensure that these concepts are realistic and feasible. And just earlier this week, we met with city, county, and agency staff who are members of our municipal and technical committees to discuss the evaluation results and gather their feedback. So as you can imagine, the 33 high priority projects that you see in attachment D have been through multiple phases of review and refinement. Looking ahead, you can see that the next steps will really focus on narrowing down to those 6 projects. In the new year, the community committees will gather in January and will be asked to recommend one candidate early action project for each zone within their county. Because we have 10 zones, we expect to have 10 candidates. And then the Mobility Zones Task Force will then have time to review those candidates before meeting in February. And to add to what Sarah said earlier, the task force includes representatives from each county and from the municipal and technical committees. So they will be asked to identify the 6 early action projects that will move forward for near-term implementation. When we initially presented this item to the Transportation Committee earlier this month, Directors Jennings, Howdeshelt, and Clarici requested a mid-process progress update. So in response, staff will be bringing a receive and file item to the February board and to Transportation Committee to provide that update on the prioritization process. So we anticipate returning in the spring in March with a final list of projects for board consideration and action. And then after that, pending board approval, staff will coordinate with implementing jurisdictions and agencies to program those funds for each early action project and support local implementation as needed. So that brings us to the end of the presentation. Thank you so much for your time, everyone. Sarah, Kathleen, and I are here, and we're happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Justine and Kathleen. I appreciate this information. Are there any questions or comments from our board members? This is an informational item. Yes, Director Hume.
Thank you, Chair. Great presentation. Looking forward to see what you guys come up with. I have a question. This is a $5 million federally funded program. Does that entire $5 million go towards the projects, or are we peeling off some for administration?
Kathleen's better equipped to answer these kinds of questions.
Yeah, good morning. Thanks, Director Hume. So in 2023, the SACOG board took action to designate federal carbon reduction program funding to implement projects that were identified through this process. So we have that original $5 million award that came from RAISE, some of which pays for staff time, consultant services to administer the project, some of which we're reserving to implement projects. And then we have the carbon reduction program funding. So we estimate it's about a $9 to $10 million total pot for projects, which is why we're looking at really small scale $1 million to $2 million projects. So this is not the big mega regional projects you're used to seeing come through SACOG. It's really tactical investments for communities.
Well, and you hit on exactly why I was asking the question, which is the risk being that given that there are 10 zones and a limited pot of money, we could end up being, an inch deep and a mile wide and not really actually have substantive changes. So thank you for being judicious and aware of that constraint.
Director Hume, can I just build on that for a second? Because I think part of the reason we wanted to have this full board discussion today, Justine mentioned that there was, as we like to say, robust discussion at the Transportation Committee, a lot of interest, and the Transportation Committee has sort of overseen this item a lot this year. So a few things I just want to put the finer point on. We've learned a lot over, I would say, even the last 6-7 years that we don't go apply for a planning grant without implementation, right? And so that, as Kathleen just mentioned, so we set aside implementation dollars for projects, and then you as a board voted to supplement those. So that's really important, especially when you're going out and doing public engagement, right? Because you can get people excited about things, and if they don't see a result of all of this effort, right, they show up, they get frustrated, and they start to believe that we can't do things. But I also just want to put the finer point on why this is such an important project. So, you mentioned sort of staff and administration, but this is a very different way of doing community engagement, and so we are learning things here that we hope will actually pay dividends. Number one is, and when we started this project, we are being very mindful of the fact that sort of disadvantaged communities, people who don't have great mobility options, right, exists in urban, suburban, and rural areas. And this whole project has actually, I think, been very cognizant of defining those places. And you all were very engaged in sort of we landed on those 10 zones, but there are some very rural places here, right, where people don't have great transportation options, number one. Number two, this is also a very different way of doing community engagement. We are really trying to do this in partnership with our local government and community-based organizations. In fact, quite a bit of this grant is going to actually sort of pay for the capacity among community-based organizations to really co-create these options. And we're learning a lot, and we're going to come back to you about some of the great lessons we've learned and some of the hard challenges we've had, right, as we've learned those lessons. And then finally, I will say, yes, there are just 6. So you saw the funnel, right, the inverted pyramid, right? So you go from many, many down to 6. But if we're successful here, the point is too that we are trying to tee up some of these really community-led projects for the SACOG funding round, for state funding, for federal funding, right? So we want to show progress and implementation, real projects that people ask for, but the also hope is that we can actually tee up more that will have a sort of a chance at success beyond just the grant money that we've set aside. Does that make sense?
Pushing the snowball off the hill.
And it will grow.
Get bigger as it goes down. And any other comments from the directors?
No, you.
See,
right.
did you have a direct?
Yeah,
go ahead. Yeah.
I just wanted to say that as Chair of Transportation, that the Transportation Committee worked really hard on this, asked very tough questions, and I really appreciate the staff leadership on this and the work of the committee.
Excellent. Thank you very
And,
much. Yeah.
and I just want to take an opportunity for this item, but this applies to the entire professional staff at SACOG. Each and every meeting, I am incredibly impressed by the presentations, the understanding of what questions might arise, and the follow-up. So thank you all very much.
Thank you, Director Aldershot. I wanted to add that as well. And just in the broader sense, I was reminded in a different forum I was in the other day that community engagement is really taking on a different meaning. You know, you think about decades ago, and I think of that show Parks and Recreation. You know, it's a, right. It's an empty. Well, I do too. It's
Who's
like
Ron Swanson here?
back to Stranger Than Fiction. But you know, all of us experience this, right? We go out, we do public engagement. It's an empty room. And nobody shows up, and then we just go ahead and, you know, and make our decisions. And I think for many decades it was like that. But, you know, SACOG, you know, staff, James and you and your team, I think you've demonstrated from whether it's the blueprint or this process right here, that you're going the extra distance in engaging the community to find out really what we're thinking. And I think a lot of our individual cities and counties are doing a similar thing. But this project right here just puts a point of emphasis and highlights that extra effort in the outreach. So I want to commend you for that, and you know, echo the sentiments of Director Halberstam.
And Mr. Chair, I just want to say you have actually teed up a theme for next year of meaningful community engagement. So I just want to let you know, we're going to come back to you and talk about this, right? And how do you all do, how does our region do meaningful community engagement? What have we learned through things like mobility zones, our Engage, Empower, Implement program, and other efforts, right? Everybody is trying to figure this out, right? In the days of sort of digital engagement and public meetings that are hard for people to get to. And so stay tuned for that, but you've teed it up without us even rehearsing this. It's perfect. Meaningful community engagement will definitely be a big topic next year.
All right, look forward to it. Thank you. With that, we'll move on to our final informational item. All you've been waiting for again, the SACOG annual highlights. First of all, before we kick this off, I'm going to kick it over to Casey Lazan. But before I do, I want to thank James and you and your team. We're going to sub these highlights as a board, but all of us know the amount of effort, background work, and supporting work that you guys all do to make these things happen. So thank you very much. Ms. Lazan.
Thank you, Chair Soon. On behalf of your SACOG staff team, I'm excited to kick off this item. So the 2025 annual highlights, we are showing you really highlights of everything that this region has accomplished over the last year. And as your staff were looking at the actions you were taking here at the board and the, groundbreakings and the projects and the places that you were being and the policy and deliberations that were happening, there's a lot of really great work that this whole region has done. And so we want to feature for you, you've got a blue covered sheet or brochure at your spot, but feature what cities and counties and other partner agencies in the region have done this year through really careful planning and collaboration to build up the vibrant region that we all envision. So I'm just going to say a couple things, and I'm going to hand it off to the committee chairs. So one of those things, there's going to be like firsts and great milestones. So one of the first is that through SACOG, you were able to support the Sacramento International Airport in securing a $36.1 million TIFIA grant or TIFIA loan. So this is the Transportation Infrastructure Finance and Innovation Act loan from the U.S. Department of Transportation. These are loans that are, it's a national program. They're very big. They're very helpful tools for getting major infrastructure built. And it was the first airport loan in the country. So that happened here, and we should all be very proud of that to help the airport grow as it needs to grow. And then the other thing I want to highlight is that this year, as we were working on finalizing the 2025 Blueprint Plan, we started talking across the region about what Blueprint implementation looks like in all of our different and unique communities and how SACOG can support those projects. And so a couple of things that you all did. One, your tours around the region, right? Visiting the city of Rockland and Wheatland and the northern part of Sacramento County. I think that has been very big that happened this year. And also one of the other things we did in the fall is we partnered with Valley Vision on their Livability Summit with 350 of the region's leaders. And we were able to talk about what does the impending adoption of the Blueprint Plan mean? What does it look like in communities across the region? So I'm going to turn it over now to Director Lauren to Director Baines.
Yeah. Land use and natural resources.
Yes.
All right.
All right, so Land Use and Natural Resources Committee, I had the honor and privilege to be able to chair this last year. So just a recap here, Land Use and Natural Resources Committee focused on policies and direction for the 2025 Blueprint to bring the plan over the finish line to adoption. The adoption marks a significant milestone for the region and represents the collaborative work of SACOG, our member cities and counties and partners. To measure our progress on the long-range plan, the 2025 Regional Progress Report shows how we're doing on our goals set in the blueprint. In 2024, the region exceeded the plan's housing production goal with the most housing built in nearly 2 decades. This includes more attached housing and ADUs, otherwise known as backyard cottages, since tracking began. And we're seeing an increase in new homes being built in the green zones. So I guess that ends my little report, but I do want to thank our committee members and most importantly, the SACOG staff and the full board for their leadership and partnership throughout the last year. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair Baines. Director Lauren.
All right, it's my honor and privilege to provide this report and to have been a leader in transportation. Transportation committees made of people that are committed to their region, to their cities, then the region, and then the future. So really appreciate that. Highlights from the Transportation Committee this year include in transportation funding, SACOG awarded $42.5 million in funding to 11 projects in the 2025 4-county state transportation improvement plan program. These awards came after a 2-year effort to revamp the funding program. The first ever 6-county federal funding round framework was created with extensive input from local agencies, cities, counties, transit agencies, and county transportation agencies. 4 projects were awarded $4.7 million from the state's ATP, Active Transportation Funding Program, to improve trail connections and safety. Yay. This year, SACOG also offered, yay. This year, you guys can cheer. This year, SACOG also offered technical assistance to public agencies implementing projects identified in the 2022 Sacramento Regional Trail Network Action Plan. The technical assistance will keep the pipeline of trails flowing and build on the 40 miles of trails that have been constructed since 2022. 10 mobility zones were adopted for focused investment as part of the Mobility Zones project. These zones reflect community input and collaboration with local partners who identified infrastructure gaps and mobility challenges. And I just want to thank the committee and also thank Bruce Huddishell and Rich Desmond for being the flanking leaders.
We don't
Did I
have
say
any
it wrong?
dots on the back of
Yeah.
our.
Oh, no,
The dots.
And I would just
Somebody
like
just
to
stand up.
advocate for dots for next year. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair Lauren. All right, Policy and Innovation Committee, Chair Donna Covey.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that. And I'll let you know, Bruce, I have 2 dots. So there. Anyway, thank you very much. It was my pleasure to serve as the chair of the Policy and Innovation Committee this year. And I'd like to first start off by thanking my committee members. We had directors Andriata, Chapdelaine, Gallego, sorry about that, Jill, Kennedy, McCulley, Rodriguez, Schaefer, Soon, Verkamp, and of course, my vice chair, Vega. So thank you very much. We had a very proactive and busy season this year and appreciate staff's involvement and work on all the legislation that we saw both federally and also at the state level. This year, the board of directors gathered for a tour of Northern Virginia, actually a tour of Northern Virginia, before we participated in Cap to Cap. And we explored infill projects, housing, transportation, and gained perspectives before we headed to the Hill to advocate on behalf of the region. And I will say it was during that trip I saw my first combination fire station and affordable housing. I thought that was, you had the fire station on the bottom and the housing that flanked it and then on the top. So very interesting, innovative planning there. Also, we are getting ready to reform SB 375. SACOG's working with our MPO partners, key interest groups, and CalCog to make changes to the bill in 2026. And we expect to see lots of movement on that very important legislation. And that concludes my report. So thank you very much, everybody.
All right. Thank you, Chair Donna Covey. Again, it's my honor to serve as your chair. You heard of these highlights that all of you did at this committee on their committees. It's my pleasure to announce all these regional wins that we had. We're always looking at where we can bring funds back to our jurisdictions. And this is a great highlight here. You know, we have in 2025, the I Street Bridge Replacement Project received 25 million from the California Transportation Commission that will bring a new bridge that connects cities of Sacramento and West Sacramento. Yeah, it is. It will be. SACOG worked with the cities and Caltrans to ensure strong commitment from the state. Also, Placer County Transportation Agency received $22.5 million from the U.S. Department of Transportation, their BUILD program to improve travel at State Route 65. $35.5 million was awarded to Yuba County from the U.S. Department of Transportation Rural Surface Transportation Block Grant to extend Plumas Lake Boulevard. And there are several partnerships, a total of $154 million for 4 projects from the Affordable Housing and Sustainable Communities Grant Program from California Housing and Community Development. This is the largest AHSC award the region has received yet that will help build connected affordable housing. And by the way, this is, and if you didn't see the executive director's update, this is 3 times the proportionate share that we should have received from a population perspective. So if that doesn't tell you, you know, we're not doing something right, I mean, this right here highlights that very much. We also celebrated a lot of project milestones, including the opening of the Sycamore Trail overcrossing in West Sacramento, which safely connects schools and neighborhoods via a bike path that goes over Highway 50, and the opening of Missouri Flat Overcrossing, multi-use trail in El Dorado County to better connect the cities of Placerville and the community of Diamond Springs. The city of Marysville adopted their 2050 general plan. The first update is since 1985. Believe that. Congratulations, Director Branson.
Every 40 years, do or take.
And lastly, the city of Citrus Heights continues their mission to build the Sunrise Tomorrow project with overwhelming community support when the project vision was challenged earlier this year. So congratulations, Mayor Schaefer. All right, that's it. Yeah, it's a round of applause for everybody. Productive year, everybody. Thank you, Mr. Corliss. Did you want to say anything else?
Well, just that the between the picture behind you there, which the I Street Bridge is definitely turning into the definition of a labor of love. So stay tuned on this. But we are hoping for an RFP out soon, and we are going to be also our first Chair-elect Gallardo mentioned the 3 offsite board meetings next year. We're going to kick off those offsites in March in West Sacramento. Thank you, Director Early, for stepping up. And we're going to be talking about the I Street Bridge, the Sycamore Trail, and a lot of other mobility zones and a lot of other things in West Sacramento. That's going to be a great event, a great offsite board meeting. I have some other staff things, but I was going to wait for Chair reports.
Absolutely.
Well,
Thank you.
and we're also going to talk about the A's too, right? I mean, so if that doesn't get you guys there, see some baseball.
Well, so with that,
Even if we're not winning.
we're moving on to director reports. So, Director Early, do you want to lead us off?
Sure. So hopefully you all can join us in West Sacramento. It's actually not that far away. So if you're used to coming here, just drive a little 10 minutes and you'll be right there. We'll get a chance to see a lot of the development that we have coming in along the river, which is very, very exciting, as well as talk about Major League Baseball coming to West Sacramento. And then we will obviously also talk about the I Street Bridge. We may do a little bit of port, we'll see. But we're very, very excited for you guys to visit our city.
Awesome. Great to hear. All right. Any other director reports? I want actually the new vice chair. Yes.
Through the chair. Yeah. I just want to say thank you to you for your leadership this year. It's been outstanding. And I want to thank the selection committee and this board for your confidence and your trust. And I'm really looking forward to working with Director Gallardo next year as vice chair. So thank you very much.
Awesome.
Sure, Senator, if I might.
Yes, please.
Where I work in Northern California Water Association, there's 7 of us, and during the holiday break, we usually get a book to read. This year's book is When Everyone Knows That Everyone Knows, and it's about common knowledge, written by a professor of philosophy, I think Harvard but anybody's interested, because I think what we end up here is collective and common knowledge that helps advance things. So it's a challenging title to remember, when everyone knows that everyone knows.
You know, if you know.
Director Schaefer.
I'd just like to request that our new chair, Gallego, get some dots for.
I'll move.
Feeling very deprived.
I'll
at
make
this
the
point.
motion.
I do find it ironic that I don't have a dot because I'm on the transportation committee. And what's the main purpose of this?
All right.
Eric
Any,
volunteers.
any other director? Okay, yes. Chair-elect, go.
I have to practice because two things traumatized my childhood, the East Area rapist and Gerald Gallego, the serial killer. That is not my last name. Not I swear it looks harder than it is. Gayaldo. Gayaldo is. I swear it's not that hard. But I honestly, going through this, I have to admit, we're here so often. It feels so good when you see this put down to see what we accomplished this year. And I again have to say, I love our site visits. Of course, I come to the A's games anyway, but I love it because now when you went through these highlights, I know what you're talking. I've seen it, and I think that's really helpful for all of us. So I'm really excited for next year. So thank you again. We did a great job.
Yeah, absolutely. Any other director reports? Okay, I want to go. Okay, yes. Please.
I'd like to throw it out there that I know a lot of board members weren't there for our Beale tour. I think it was last year. Maybe next year, if anyone's interested, we can get you guys back out to Beale Air Force Base. I know we got to blow some stuff up last time, which is really cool. So if anyone's interested, maybe we can get together and do that again this year. And we could take a look at the South Beale interchange that is on the development list. That way you guys can kind of have an idea of how important that project will be too.
Yes, thank you. And if you haven't chased the YouTube plane, landing, that's pretty cool too. So that Beale tour, I encourage it. Look, I also want to again close out and what an awesome year we had with the 2025, all the things that we've accomplished. And if you remember from the previous meeting, there's a lot to do in 2026. So I also am excited for Director Gallego and Director Bradford's leadership come next year. Look forward to working alongside you. It's been an honor to have been your chair this past year and work alongside all of you. Thank you all for your hard work this year on your committees and this board. And again, James and your team, thank you all so much. You guys do a wonderful job as you heard earlier. With that, I wish you all a happy holidays and want to pass it
All
on.
right, I'll close it out. I do want you to know, by the way, that left on the cutting room floor was the annual lowlights. And so the good news is there were only two. It was dots on the back of your nameplates and assigned seating. I mean,
Assigned
Don't
seating
go
next
there.
year.
it's better to have more highlights than lowlights.
No one puts me in a box.
Chair Soon and Vice Chair Gallardo. And by the way, the board orientation next year will be to pronounce Vice Chair Gallardo's last name. I want to say a big thank you from all of us. And I really appreciate, right, as your executive director, when you're staff and the professional work they do here, the passion that they bring to this work and this region and all of your communities. We are always talking about how to be better, how to make the region a better place, how to see all of you and your jurisdictions. That's why we did the local jurisdiction highlights we ran through in November. But when our staff stands up and gives a presentation and you recognize them genuinely for the professionalism and the passion that they bring, that means a lot to us. Because we have a great staff. And speaking of which, I just want to give you a few staff updates. First and foremost, we have hired a new director of data and analysis, which is the first time that we have hired at senior level position for a very long time. And since this person has joined our team, I can't tell you how many people have come forward and said, nice job, by the way. I want to introduce Becky Johnson. Becky, if you can please stand. Becky has had a remarkable career, and I can't believe that we are lucky, both as an agency and a region, to have her here. She's only been on the job 2 weeks, but she's already turned everything over several times. Becky has worked at PG&E. She's worked at United Auburn Indian Community. She worked at Siemens Transportation, and she worked at SACOG in the 1990s. She worked on a transportation plan that looked all the way out to the future year of 2020. And she's back with us, and we're just delighted for the passion that she is bringing, and I know she's going to be an incredible complement to this team. So we really just want to recognize Becky, and please say hi to her if you haven't already. I also want to say a little bit and recognize at least the staff who are here, but just name some anniversaries. So again, this is important that we have a staff here who we recognize and we grow and we develop. And it's great when people are sticking around for anniversaries. And on our 1-year anniversaries, and we have a lot of these because we have a lot of new staff. Like many of your agencies, we hired a lot of people since 2020, and we've hired a lot of good ones. So I want to recognize, and if you are in the audience, and I'm just trying to look back to see who's back there, if you could stand, please. Liz Hastings. Liz around? No? All right. Justine Reshio Patel, who gave your presentation earlier. This is Justine. Got Justine from the East Coast to come out here. We're very delighted about that. Josh Fonts, who's on the data analysis team and done a lot of the data dashboard and the regional progress report. Summer Lopez is just a 1-year anniversary. You've heard Summer give a lot of the active transportation, ATP, trails, and you're going to hear a lot more from Summer. Jackie Cars is on our programming and project delivery team. The things I think that we don't say enough about when we talk about a TIFIA loan for the Sacramento airport, it's people like Jackie who have just had her 1-year anniversary here that are making those projects.
James, sorry, real quick, you mentioned a few names, but they didn't stand up, so it did.
I don't know if they're here.
They're not, I know, even the other ones, I just want to make sure those were on here.
All right, we'll get them back in January and make them all stand up for you. And finally, in 1-year anniversary is Leo Torres. Leo is on our transportation team and doing a lot of work on transit and has done a tremendous amount on this transit MOU for the 10 agencies in the region that you're going to hear a lot more about next year. All right, we're going to fast forward beyond 1 year to 10. Rosie Ramos Gomez is one of your staff people you've hear a lot from, a 10-year anniversary for Rosie. She leads many things, including external relations, our regional managers group, where we pull all the city and county executives together. She also leads our Youth Leadership Academy and is a great example of that kind of one of our staff who brings so much passion. 15-year anniversary, Renee DeVere Oki, who is now leading a lot of our federal relations work. We have Renee, and get ready for this, 20 years. We have Pete Atwood. If Pete is here, and he's not. Somebody else who you may not believe that he's been here 20 years, but Eric Johnson has had his 20 years. And get ready, there's one last category here. And I don't think they really want me to say this, but 25 years, even they look like they just graduated high school. Lynette Espinoza. Barbara Von Bechtold, who's the And if Becky had never left SACOG, we'd have a special category. That really concludes my report. Thank you again for all of your engagement this year. Really, you've been an incredibly engaged board. We appreciate your leadership. And as Chair Soon said, we have a lot of work to do in 2026. So we look forward to seeing you January 15th. There are no committee meetings. We give you early January off, but then we're right back at it. Chair-elect Gallardo will come to that meeting, and that morning she'll give everybody which committees you're on and all the rest of that. And then we're off and running for 26. So Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, and have a good one. We'll see you soon.
All right. Thank you, James. So just see, first of all, I want to congratulate Becky for her appointment here. A lot of us know Becky from many years ago, so it's good to see you again. And then congratulations on all the anniversaries, having 10, 20, 25 years. I mean, that really is a testament to an organization to stay that long. So congratulations to you, James, on that as well. Director Maple, did you want to say something?
If I may, Chair.
Yeah, please.
Thank you. Wonderful updates. I want to say thank you so much to all the staff that have been here. I mean, 25 years. That's incredible. Yes. But I also one thing I didn't hear, but I really want to say and appreciate is that a lot of our incredible staff here at SACOG not only show up every day to work and work very hard for us, but they also serve out in the community. And I wanted to highlight both Justine and Dov, who serve on commissions in the city of Sacramento, the Active Transportation Commission and the Planning Commission. Thank you for your efforts.
Awesome. Yeah, that's great. Okay, yeah, yes. Director Jones.
Yes, sometimes we get really, really busy, and I want to make a special thank you and shout out to Lynette because she's the one that's responsible for hurting all of us. And her patience and everything. I know I get really busy and she's on me at the last minute saying, are you coming? Are you coming? And I thank you for that and your patience. And she's always got a smile on her face. She's
Yes,
very
thank you,
sweet.
Lynette.
Chair, I was going to say the same thing. Thank you, Suzanne. The staff, all of you are great. Being new this year on SACOG, Lynette, you're so helpful. You keep me organized. So thank you very much. Thank you to all of you. But I was going to say the same thing and Suzanne beat me to it. So thanks for all your help. Appreciate it.
Worth double the comp. So absolutely.
Darren.
Yes,
just-
sir, Director
Just
Jennings.
real quick, on top of everything that we've said, and not to take anything away from it, we have an incredible leader here at SACOG who makes all of this go. Whether it's this board, whether it's the staff, the development, the training, all the things that you do, the strategy, everything. You're an incredible leader, and I just want to acknowledge you in front of everybody. And thank you. Have a happy holidays and enjoy your family and your time off. So a big round of applause for our.
Absolutely. All right, I have received file. I'm assuming nobody has any comments about that. All right. With that, happy holidays, everybody. See you in January. Meeting adjourned.